Donna Hopkins, Pro Football Plus, out here at Commanders headquarters as they get ready to face the Philadelphia Eagles for the second time this season. And oh boy, what a big game it is for this Commanders team coming up. Being that when you look at the playoff race right now, the Commanders are in 7th place, and they know that this is a key win because they have a lot of people looking over their shoulders right now and trying to get into the playoffs. So Eagles, the second time around, they come in hot, winners of their last 10 games. The Commanders, their last 2. Much a different team from both of these two teams when they met the first time around. And the Commanders, offensively, they know that they have to do a better job as far as up front. Last week they gave up 8 sacks, and they know that this week against a Philadelphia #1 defense coming in, they can't afford to do that. So blocking up front is so key, and I got a chance to talk to some of the offensive linemen about what is some key things this time around facing the Eagles that they know that they have to do as far as run blocking, pass blocking, and really protecting Jayden Daniels.
I think, their front seven, talking about defense in general, I think the front seven, you got to control their line of scrimmage. You got to be able to move the ball in the run game, play action pass. You got to be able to set it up, all up. But I think that's the biggest part of the key is just the line of scrimmage in general and winning that and limiting, the turnover battle and obviously winning that battle too.
Hey, Tyler, you be able to get back out here this week. So you talked a little bit just now about some key things, but seeing Philly the first time and looking at them now, what are some key focus points this time around?
I think just execution in general. Whether it be, we're on, first and 10 and we have run play, not having a negative play, right? And it's not necessarily always about third down, whether it can come to that, but more so about how can we set ourselves up for the best situation, right? So getting to third and shorts more, third and manageable more, limiting penalties, winning the turnover battle. There's a numerous amount of things that we can control that's in our control, and if we can do that, we'll be in a great spot. And again, it's all about the line of scrimmage.
The team has grown from that first time around. What have you learned from playing them the first time up until this point in the stretches right now of trying to get into the playoff?
Well, I think the bigger factor I think is that we've grown, and it's we're playing them, but it's about us and Matt. And
how have you all grown?
Yeah, and we've grown we've grown a lot, I think, in regards of how we prepare and the chemistry we have with one another and execution down the stretch, being in those games and maybe not being on the better end of it, but growing from those and how we felt looking back at the prep and how we can get better throughout practice and throughout the week. I think we've grown a lot in regards of situational awareness and situational football, but also the winning the turnover battle and taking care of the ball and keeping it in our hands, because when it is, we're in control, and that's when we are at our best.
Big task coming up this week, get Philly for the second time. Talk about some key things offensively. Both teams are different this time around. What are some keys this week?
I think it just always comes down to execution. So December football, you got to try to get your run game established. So we'll try to do that and execute in the situations, third down, short yardage, and they got a good defensive front over there, and then division team. So we always know it's going to be a tough outing. So just got to come out and try to execute at a high level.
Now, a high amount of sacks last week against the Saints and everything, and you just said that Philly has a smoking defense. I just added the smoking defense. But what are some keys as far as, just looking at cutting down on the mistakes and just the protection overall?
We just got to make sure we're all on the same page and working as a unit, and I think that just, starts with us, and, we're the only group on the field that has to be in unison. So I think it's just communicating and us moving as a unit, and, those guys can rush at a high level, and I just think it'll be a good task for us. We'll stand up.
About some keys this week.
Matchups, O-line versus D-line. Their D-line versus our O-line, vice versa. Playmaking, capitalizing on turnovers and all that kind of stuff.
Now, last week, 8 sacks is something that you want to go in this week. What are some keys as far as just the protection, and what do you see from last week that you can say we can be better at doing what?
Finishing. Finishing the pass rush around the ball, being more locked into our obligations and duties as offensive line, as an offense.
Facing the Eagles this week, what do you think will be the biggest challenge for this offense?
Yeah, avoid negative plays. I thought that was really our Achilles heel. The first time, some first and second down sacks. Obviously, we turned the ball over, but I think last week, we had 8 sacks, I think 17 negative plays, which is not what we do. And that against this team, if you're in second and long, third and long throughout the game, it's going to be tough sledding because they got some guys up front that can rush to the pass or they can play shell coverage and make it a long, long day for you.
You're a different team than you play the Eagles the first time, and so are they. With this offense, your offense, what do you like about this offense going in facing Philadelphia for the second time?
Yeah, I think the ability to learn from what we did the first time we played. I'm on a short week. I mentioned this before, but I had way too much in, and I feel like we played tentative. I didn't call a very good game. So now to have the full week process and just see how they played this first time, try to make the proper adjustments, and then see how far we've come since then. I think that's going to be the exciting part. But they've done a tremendous job, Coach Fangio, defensively. I mean, the improvements they made from last year and just watching them week to week, critical moments, the way they're playing. It's been impressive to see the job he's done. It'll be a huge challenge, but I think we're a different team, they're a different team, and hopefully we can play at a lot higher level than we did the first time.
Well, we heard from the offensive line, so let's go over to the defense, and they've got a big task ahead of them also. But when you look at the numbers, for this defense, for both Philadelphia and Washington, both of them are high up as far as in their ratings. But one person that comes to mind as far as this Commanders defense, looking at the Philadelphia Eagles, is their running back, Saquon Barkley. And the first time around, he had 146 yards. He's got over 1,600 yards on the ground, 11 touchdowns. So last time around, he broke out in the second half and did his damage, and this team knows that this is a player that they have to be able to shut down. They've got all kind of weapons as far as the Philadelphia Eagles, even in their wide receiver group with A.J. Brown. You got Devontae Smith, and then you got tight end Dallas Goedert. So, I mean, pick your poison as far as where you need to stop them, but you've got to feel confidence as far as this Commanders team right now, as far as what they've been able to do defensively. Now against the Saints, the second half, some things fell apart, but you like their chances this time around. And as Frankie Louvu told me this week, that it's a bad taste in his mouth right now from the first time around, and so he's looking forward to this challenge this week.
I'm excited for it. Just from the first game, we just couldn't finish. So it's stuck with me, and I know for a lot of guys in the team. So, and it's a division game. It's going to be a dogfight, and I know they're going to bring their best, and we're going to bring our best. We just got to play all 4 quarters. The main thing. I think the big thing is, I think he's good at his second half of the game. That's when he kind of have a rhythm and knows, when the defense kind of wearing out, we're on the field for a long time. That's where he kind of, break a run and whatnot. But, just special player, and we just got to stop him early and, have him one-dimensional, keep him in the phone booth as always, and also keep account for Jalen too, using his feet and, making big plays out of the pocket.
And Mikey Sanders-Steele, who's had, a solid year so far. Last week got his second pick, got a chance to catch up with him. So let's go into the locker room. Philadelphia the second time around, got your second pick last week. Talk about just meeting them for the second time around in a close game the first time.
Just being able to go back, watch that game, see what we could correct, see where they hit us, big plays we gave up, and just, being able to learn. But, Coach Quinn has been mentioning it all week, we're not the same team then that we are now, so just, carrying the momentum that we have coming off this last win, close game against the Saints. But, at the end of the day, it's always, about us, what we can do to be better, what we can do to, make sure that we're in the right position, to be successful come Sunday.
Talk about those things as far as being better. What are some key things that you all look at this time around that, hey, we can be better here?
I think just, going back to the basic fundamentals, where can we be consistent? How can we win each day of practice leading up to Sunday? In the film room, recovery,
just doing all the right steps that we have to take to get us into Sunday.
I mean, same thing since college. Saquon, powerful, burst of speed, and just a great running back, a great vision. Could cut it back at the drop of a dime, so that's what makes him a great running back, his speed and his power.
As you can see, the Commanders are getting after it. It's good to see Jeremy Chin out here at practice, hoping to get him back in here. He was left a game last week in the concussion protocol. But look at these two teams' defense and total defense. The Eagles have the number one defense, allowing 275 yards. They gave up 26 touchdowns, and the Commanders overall total defense, they're ranked 11th, giving up 321 yards, 38 touchdowns on the year. And the pass defense, the Eagles once again, number one, giving up just 174 yards and 15 touchdowns. The Commanders at fourth, giving up 119 yards, 23 touchdowns. Now, rushing defense, the Eagles are seventh, only allowing just over 100 yards, 9 touchdowns. So that's key this week as far as to get Brian Robinson going. And Commanders rush defense, number 24th, giving up 131 yards, 13 touchdowns. And as I said, they got a big task this week facing Saquon Barkley and that Eagles offense. Could you talk a little bit about the defensive front? Are you pleased with what you're seeing from those guys up front? And who has really stood out on that defensive front that you say, oh, man, they are doing exactly what I want them to do?
Okay. The last couple of games, it's been a focus of stopping the run, and there were two good run teams that we played. And I've been pleased with the way the fronts play. They're being more square. They're throwing hands, not playing behind blocks. If there's one person up there that's just been really, really consistent, I would say is D.A. He does pretty much everything that I asked him to do. He had the one sack. I think I was asked last week about his low sack production. Well, I went back and looked at it. Just like he had one sack this game here, one sack was taken away because we had a penalty. Well, he has a couple more sacks that were taken away because of penalties. So his sack numbers are actually, and the way he affects the quarterback is actually better than what the numbers actually say. Like I said, stats can be misleading sometimes. But I think DA's been really, really good. Payne, I've been pleased with the way that he's played here, playing the run, being square, taking doubles. Those two guys I would really highlight from the front.
And you talked about some of those learning moments. What are some of those key learning moments that can spill over into a game on the positive side against a team like the Eagles?
Well, just, we don't want them to score late in the game, but at the same fact that, with the 2-point conversion, I know everybody said the guy just dropped the ball, but Noah was right there on him, pushing him, making it a hard situation right there. We knew they were going flat left. And, he should have slid outside a little bit more and made it more difficult on it. But just to be able to stand up in that moment, and we need more moments like that. And to be able to understand the plays that we didn't make, that those are critical plays that will turn the game into our favor. So we won't be back in that situation again.
Talking to Coach Tapp and everything, and even Coach Witt today, they talked about just your play, the growth of you. Where have you seen the growth of your play down this stretch heading into the final part of the season?
That's a great question. Where have I grown the most? I would say the level of consistency. I'm just trying to get the job done at a high level. I know my coaches depend on me to be a leader, and I'm one of the guys who just lead by example for real. I don't really say too much. I know a lot of the young guys watching me too, so that's pretty much what I would say.
And facing the Eagles for the second time around, learning from that first one where it was really close, what are some key things down this time around that you all have learned and know that you have to put into place this time around?
Attention to details for 4 full quarters. I'm not going to speak on nobody else, but I know me, I was trying to make plays that probably wasn't for me to make at the end of the game, so that kind of came back and hurt us a little bit. So for me, I just say attention to detail.
And what do you like about where this team is right now headed into the home stretch, winning the last 2 games?
We still got a lot to play for. everybody in this locker room believe in each other that we can get it done, and that's what I love about it the most. You know, there's no selfish egos around here, and everybody just want to win and see each other be successful.
Yeah, Donna Hopkins out here at Commanders headquarters as we all get ready. You heard what the players said that were key things in facing the Philadelphia Eagles this time around. We're just days away from this divisional matchup again against two heavyweights, but the Philadelphia Eagles with a win can clinch the division, and the Commanders needing this win to stay in the playoff race. So they can afford to let this one slip away.